passionate about Cleveland sports.
He's going in, touchdown!
Browns, Indians, Cavs, the Big Ten, and more.
Cleveland is a city of champions once again!
Andy and Jarid, Cleveland and beyond.
Swing it and drive! To deep right!
Here are your hosts, Andy Billman and Jarid Watson.
Hello and welcome, Andy and Jarid, Cleveland and beyond. He's Andy Billman. I'm Jarid Watson. We are part of the Pulse Podcast Network. Coming up on the show, Odell Beckham Jr.'s introduction press conference in Baker Mayfield. Jarvis Landry and Myles Garrett joined him on stage. Ogba was traded to Kansas City for safety Eric Murray, and Duke Johnson has requested to be traded. Just another normal day in April in the Browns news cycle. Opening day for the Tribe. Hopefully their bats are in attendance. It's going to be a rough season.
But they won.
And the Final Four is set. But first, let's hear from our new sponsors, Podcoin. Podcoin is an app that pays you to listen to podcasts. A variety of podcasts are available, and they're going to pay the listener one Podcoin for every 10 minutes spent listening. Podcoins can be redeemed for rewards to be used towards Amazon, PayPal, and another variety of ways. If you listen to multiple podcasts and want to be rewarded, reward yourself by using Podcoin. It's a simple and easy thing to use. It'll help you earn credits for something that we all enjoy just by listening to podcasts. To join, use your smartphone and download the Podcoin app and sign up to start getting paid. Andy, this seems pretty easy to use.
Look, it's pretty simple. You just sign up and you get rewarded. And for someone who's about ready to do his taxes and is looking forward to seeing how much I will not have in my bank account, I think Podcoin might be a good way to go. It might be a good way to start. It might be a good way to start.
It's like a
earning extra coins
for podcasts or something. I don't know how to explain it. But
yeah, I mean, I'm going to download it as soon as I get done on my iPhone, and it is that easy. As I did download it, it's Podcoin app, just as it's spelled, PODCOIN, and on the app, and I'm going to start listening right now.
Yeah, it's nice because podcasts are already free, and then you're going to earn credits just by doing what you already do for free. And you get to spend them in places where you probably normally shop. Cool deal. Podcoin. Check it out. So Odell Beckham's introduction press conference today,
Cleveland Browns.
in Berea, was a sight to behold, Andy. It was fun to see Freddie Kitchens up there prior, wearing his Block C Indians hat, ready to go for opening day. And then all of a sudden, you've got... I mean, Andy, I guess let's start with this. There were 4 guys on stage today that have game-changing abilities, and we probably could have added a few more guys in this Browns lineup on that stage that will have a decent amount of that ability as well. I've never seen anything like it, to be honest. We're not even going to get into the content yet. Just seeing those guys in orange and brown, holy cow, this team is, on paper, again, going to be good.
Well, yeah, they're going to be very good, and that was the first time I ever remember at an NFL press conference where you didn't see the GM or the coach or the owner walk up to the podium. This was very NBA-like to me. I felt like it was the first time where the Browns are maybe setting the new standard for how things are going to work, not just in Cleveland, but maybe in the league. This was a very unlike NFL press conference, where really the players dominated what was going to be said here. And I thought that was a great PR move. I also thought that was the right move, because this move was driven by especially Jarvis Landry, his childhood friend growing up in Louisiana, and their talk about playing someday, and it actually happened. This press conference I thought originally was just going to be another good press conference with a big splash. And these press conferences, and you and I have seen these forever, it's almost like you would see at a putt-putt course. Have a windmill. You just are ready for the certain things. Something will be said. There's laughter and banter.
Waiting for the typical stuff. Yeah. I got you.
And when those four walked out there, I said, oh, man, I actually need to watch this. Because I was going to do work while I was listening to it. But I was like, nope, I actually need to pay attention.
Yeah, I was glued to it.
So I call it the Four Horsemen. That's what it felt like.
Yeah.
Like you could just feel that kind of presence when they walked into the room.
Each one had a little bit of a different attitude up there on the podium. Myles Garrett was probably quietly thinking to himself how he's going to destroy Ben Roethlisberger this season. Landry was probably almost close to tears again.
Very emotional.
Odell Beckham
you could even
Jr.
see before
still seems to be in a strange sort of disbelief, but in a positive way at the fact that this is all going on around him. And Baker Mayfield is like, what do we say? He seems like he's ready to be let off the leash. Not to be cliche in regard to the Browns, but he was holding it in, and this dude is just grinding his teeth at night, waiting to get back on the field.
Well, I think to your point, I think Mr. Mayfield's ready to go, and I think this team's ready to go. I want to start with Beckham because I thought he looked like a guy who really was taking everything in today. He did not obviously look overwhelmed or anything like that, but you could tell this moment meant a lot to him, and I was surprised about that. Press conferences are sort of orchestrated, as I was trying to explain earlier, that usually these things don't have a lot of emotion. This one did today. This one had a lot more feel and emotion than the normal press conference does.
Yeah.
The biggest thing that Beckham really made clear today is that he feels like this is a life change in his career. And that he feels like this moment of him coming to the Browns is the start of something great. Really excited about the opportunity and a blessing. And, of course, the line, more iconic than what we realized, meaning someday we're going to look back at this press conference and go, this wasn't just a press conference. This had more meaning to it. And, honestly, I felt that way even after today.
That line Odell, had me. I retweeted that line as soon as I heard it. I thought, wow, he's right. He's right. Down the road, this might end up being something that we don't even fully comprehend at this moment. And that was a great way for him to make reference to the fact that he didn't have words for a lot of things that were going on.
Yeah, I mean, that really came through. I'm going to go to Beckham and Landry next. The other thing that Beckham made a point of that I thought really cut through, which he's been pretty reserved about, and he didn't hammer it, but he did bring it up. He brought up the phrase, I'm just paraphrasing when he said, this wasn't the exact word verbiage, but the culture here is different.
Mm-hmm.
And that is something we've usually heard when players leave Cleveland, going into a new place, and usually say, boy, it's much different here. We heard that a lot in the 2000s from a variety of players. Boy, it's much different here than is back in Cleveland with the Browns right now. Beckham used that line to reference the Giants. So it's pretty clear that he believes he's walking into an opportunity, and he's walking into as he mentioned many times today in the press conference, but also, Jared, he basically admitted in so many words, because this name did not come out, he never mentioned Eli Manning, and I found that to be a bit odd, and I'm not going to get into, I'm not a Giants fan, so I won't get into who's right, who's wrong about that, but, when he didn't mention his name a lot, he mentioned some other players on the team, that to me also stood out. And watching Baker beside him, it made me realize that he feels like, and he was smiling a lot at Baker. He was smiling a lot at everybody. Yeah. But you could just feel like he is ready here to shred whatever it was. Again, whatever it was in New York just didn't work for him. But what he's thinking already here is, boy, it's a breath of fresh air. And that was made very clear throughout the press conference.
He made reference to the fact that he could be in Sheboygan, Wisconsin, and it doesn't matter. His brand will be fine, basically. That being in Cleveland, Ohio, see, and this is what I've never understood. I love New York City for what it is. I love the city. I love going to the city. I got friends that work there. I got friends that do some really awesome things there.
Yep.
I got my places and my spots that I love to visit every time I'm there. But why does that mean I don't understand why does that mean that Cleveland can't be as good? You know what I mean? Like, they're very different places, and I love Cleveland, Ohio. And I would live in Cleveland, Ohio over living in New York City any day, to be honest. So I don't know. Obviously I'm biased, but you can be anywhere. And the way that the NFL works, it's getting away from that New York media. Probably for him is going to be a blessing, no matter what.
Well, it will and it won't, and I do mean that it won't because the expectations are high. I mean, he needs to realize that.
Well, I don't think he's lost that though. But he's not going to have to worry about being turned on in an instant.
No, by the way, that is very
much
different.
more forgiving. Look at all of the garbage that we put up with in the antics in regard to LeBron. Right.
Well, no, I'm
he's
with
not even getting away with that out in L.A. now.
Well, no, I'm with you. The one thing I would say about all of this though that needs to be brought up. You're right. When it comes to Odell Beckham, the individual, I think we will be a little bit more of like a rubber ball. It'll bounce off and bounce back and be okay. However, when it comes to the play on the field, the expectations are high. And by the way, I think you're right. I think he'll be ready for that and whatever else. But still, wins are wins. Wins are great. It's always champagne and caviar. We know at one point or another they're going to have a tough loss, a tough moment. It happens. I mean, it's the NFL.
Yeah, Freddie talked about it.
Well, no, but I'm just saying, Jared, though, there's going to be a moment, though, where he's going to get tested. And I think he'll be fine, but it's going to be tested.
He's surrounded by people that he can talk to.
No, I agree with you.
Right?
I agree with you.
Right?
I agree with you.
I almost feel like him leaving, and this is my analogy for it, is in a sense, you wanted to break up with that person, and they broke up with you first, and you're just kind of going... I wanted to break it. You know what I'm talking about? That feeling of I was going to leave you anyway. So there's some of that shock, I think, involved in having the rug pulled out from under him, which he's alluded to in regard to his kind of his life being in upheaval, and now he's got to move to Cleveland. He's got some loose ends he's got to tie. Those are all very normal things, and it probably is a little bit of a shock. But I don't know that there's any real love loss at the end of the day with him leaving New York. I just don't. I didn't get that vibe. I was looking for it, and I wasn't getting it.
The Giants come off as fuddy-duddies. They really come off as the old school. They're lost. They feel the Giants to me just don't feel old. They feel very old school in this. And I thought what the Browns did today kind of feels like where the NFL is finally going. Again, the NFL is really the last sport where you don't usually see press conferences like this get dominated by the athlete. Usually there's still an owner or a GM or both or a coach, and usually they're the ones who really have the power and microphone controlling it. Again, for today, for something like that to happen, no Dorsey, no Kitchens, no Haslam. It was those four players. And by the way, that was the right thing to do.
Oh, yeah.
And that's why this organization's going places, because they get it. And I give them a lot of credit for that. And I'll tell you, Odell Beckham and Landry. Okay, let's get to Landry. Landry just seemed to be like on cloud 9 today.
This is my
point.
And
he should be.
Andy, sorry to interrupt one last time. I just thinking about this even more, I get so fired up. Why isn't this the norm? These guys don't need to be, let them do it. Let them. Why not? They're grown-ass men. Are you afraid they're going to say something that you're embarrassed of? Are you afraid they're not going to toe the company line? This is how it should be. It should be that way. Because think of how corny this would have been. Think of it. How corny would this have been if it was Odell? And this is exactly how I thought it was going to be in my mind. Freddie Kitchens walks out. John Dorsey walks out. Odell walks out. They sit there. They're rigid. Oh, we love to have him here. Oh, yeah, it's great to have him here. Oh, we can't wait to do this. Yeah, it's great to be here. Pictures, hold up the uniform, cool deal, and then get that garbage out of here. Put them out there. It's just like Freddie talked about. We, not I, we. And he put we out front. We is that team. Those four guys out front today. That's the we. Put it on them. Put it on them. That's the ownership.
I agree with you.
Whew.
I think
Sorry,
the Browns. No, it's okay. But I think that's why it's such a positive for the Browns. I think the Browns are the ones setting the new standard. I think that's why the Browns are very successful.
Sorry, go ahead.
I think that's why the Browns
I apologize. By
no, it's okay. It's good. But I think that's why I think the Browns are going places. That's why I think the Browns are going to be very good next year.
Yeah.
Because of moves like today, and again, this was not expected. I was not expecting this today. That was a very pleasant surprise. I was really happy for Jarvis Landry. I knew those guys were tight. I obviously did not know that I knew they were best friends, but obviously sometimes you can tell when people have a special connection. These two have a special connection.
Yeah, I texted you as soon as I saw that. I'm like, I can't believe he's talking about tearing up. He's talking about the fact that he cried with the coach and the GM about the move. Like, that actually happened? It's nuts.
Well, no, Landry's going to bring, I think, is going to help out a lot here along with Baker. But I was happy today for Landry. It's great to hear someone say that, get that emotional about it. Baker also really did a nice job today of really bringing a sense of he's the leader, but allowing Odell to have the spotlight. The other thing too that came across real quickly was it got asked a couple times. I'll say this out there until we get into some game situations where maybe you feel a couple moments, but I don't think it's going to happen. I wouldn't worry about the sharing the ball thing. I know someone brought that up on our Facebook page.
Yeah.
I really wouldn't worry about that on this team. I think that is and I'm not just saying that to save face. I think really that is not a problem here. I don't get that vibe, and the way they answer these questions today and the way they came out, I don't think it's a problem at all. I think the other thing too today that really came out, that's something you hinted on. Beckham, I think, realizes not just he's coming to Cleveland, but he's coming to a city with a lot of passion.
Yeah.
He's very bright. He came up with a lot of good things that you could tell he studied up on the city. He knew what he's getting into. I thought also his references, and someone asked him, but you could tell LeBron saying you're going to love Cleveland. That means a lot to us. It means a lot to me. It means that you show and you care. And I think I think LeBron's right. I think he's going to love Cleveland. I think he's going to be surprised. Remember, this isn't a kid who's born in the inner cities of Detroit, or he is a Louisiana kid. And he comes from a background where New Orleans is right down the road. And yes, New Orleans and Cleveland are two different climates, but they're pretty similar cities.
There's a lot of passion and a lot of love within their tribe, right?
A lot of history, a lot of compassion to the local area. I think he's going to really enjoy it here. And to hear him talk about that with LeBron was great. And I think the last thing, when it comes back to on the field, Odell said, my first impressions of Freddie Kitchens is he's a real guy and he feels the love. So when you take that, going back to what we heard earlier, where he says, I just need a change of culture. It feels different here. Freddie Kitchens said it, you kind of alluded to it earlier, and we'll get into Freddie's. He had two moments. He had one in Arizona and they had one today. Freddie's really coming off strong here too. I mean, there's a lot of positive momentum, and we're all not naive. There hasn't been a punt. There hasn't been a first down. There hasn't been an interception. No plays have happened. And that's what, in a way, even myself, I'm starting to tell myself, you need to take a breath. We have a long ways to go before September. But with that said, the momentum here is really, really positive, and I don't think it's fake. I don't think it's overhyped. I don't think it's buzz. I think it's legitimate. Look, I'd be the first one to tell you, I'll break something down if I think it's crap.
No,
right?
I'll tell you something
right now. No, I'll tell you something right now if I think something like, I think it's flimsy. We're going to get into the tribe lineup here in a second. But this is not the tribe lineup, okay? This is not the tribe lineup. Yeah, by the way, I love Mandy Bell, but her and I are going to have some interesting debates in the next podcast. It's I'm about ready to tell her, are you telling me that this statement?
She's going to remind you that we're only 4 games in the season.
Fine, 3 games in, but aren't we all fucking scared? I'm a little fucking scared about the Indians. All right, going back to the Browns. I love the Indians, and Francona is amazing. I love him as a manager, but Christ almighty, that lineup. Okay, back to the Browns. Okay, so the Browns, I like where this is going today. I thought this, again, I was not expecting this to lead off our show. I was expecting Odell happy. You said it, the play-by-play of not uncomfortableness, but cookie cutter. I love this. He loves me. We made the trade. I don't know. You got to ask this. Talk to Eli. I don't know. I like Freddie now, but none of that it was very genuine today. I think the two things that also got put out today, we talked about the ball sharing thing. People need to remember that Odell Beckham is a very busy and popular guy. There's nothing wrong with setting this press conference an hour or two before the game. Odell is big time enough.
Thank you for mentioning that. I forgot about it, but I want to. Go ahead.
Yeah. By the way, he needed to do it because of his schedule, and he made a point. He was going to be ready to come to mandatory camp for the Giants in a couple weeks. I'm sure the Browns is in a similar time length. He had stuff planned out previously, and so he wasn't planning to go to New York. And obviously he wasn't planning to be in Berea because he had stuff planned for his business and personal life. For people out there, and I don't know if people are debating it, but I thought Freddie hit it out of the park today. It is not mandatory. It's voluntary. So if Odell Beckham's got stuff to do, look, he's an all-time pro. He doesn't need to come to camp right now. Would it be nice to get him reps and stuff? Sure, but it's not mandatory. So you know what? He doesn't have to come. If he doesn't want to come,
No,
he's got
and
stuff to
he
do.
chose to come, and it doesn't seem like, again, this was not
false bravado. This wasn't today.
No, and on top of that, I want to jump back to that one point just briefly. I really think that this whole disrespecting the Indians by doing this on opening day thing,
that's ridiculous.
It got started with one tweet from one person in the media, as far as I can tell. Speaking of what's contrived and not contrived, that whole debate is completely contrived, because I don't think outside of social media, get out of the social media vacuum. Go sit anywhere in Cleveland. Talk to any Cleveland sports fan, and not one person is going to tell you that the way things went down today, with leading with the press conferences and rolling right into opening day for the Indians, not one Cleveland sports fan in my mind could look at you in the eyes and say that was a bad thing and it shouldn't have went down that way. You got to be out of your damn mind to think that there was something wrong with that, and blow it out your you-know-what if you want to cry about it somewhere else. Get out of my face. I don't want to hear it. Take that garbage somewhere else. That's garbage. That's that old Cleveland mentality, and I don't want it here.
Well, by the way, and I got to say this. This happens in New York. These happen in other cities where you have multiple press conferences going on, multiple teams in a start of a game. Look, it wasn't okay. If Odell
imagine
Beckham's
if the
press
Cavs
conference,
get their lives together next season too.
I know. Look, if the Odell Beckham press conference started at 4:30, all right, we have some debating now. But it didn't. It started at 2:30. You had a 45.
It was a great primer.
By the way, if you're at that local, forget that, the corner pub at Progressive Field, you're having a pint, you're going to watch the press conference, and then it's time for the ceremony on the field. It's perfect.
Yes.
You could not have asked for anything better. And again, that must brings in busy. And by the way, Cleveland, you can't have it both ways. And I love Cleveland. You can't have it. We are a part of this
I'm
now.
not putting this on them. I'm putting it on the one person who sent the tweet.
No, I agree.
And that's where I'm leaving it.
By the way, you're right.
That person knows who they are, and it got talked about all morning this morning as I drove into work, listening to some other guys that I listened to on the way in, and that debate was brought up only to basically say the same thing that I'm saying right now. It's a false narrative. Get that weak shit out of here. Get it out of here.
I didn't hear anybody talk about today, so I think that it was nice. It was nice. But anyways, you're right. I re-step what I just said there. Clevelanders know this is fine. And I'm sure that guy who tweeted that will realize that too. Because it's fine. This is what big cities do, and Cleveland's a big city.
Yep.
It's no big deal. You can definitely do two things at once. And I thought it made for a great day in Cleveland. So I think that's really what the Odell Beckham thing is. There are other moments you can get into. The video that Jarvis Landry put out was really cool today on social media.
I haven't
you can get in different sound bites and all that. But Baker Mayfield had a couple interesting moments today.
Yeah.
Where, by the way, he was.
I got to ask you this, Andy, and I don't know if it's just me. I'm really hoping that this is kind of a joking kind of relationship going on. No names, please, but there's a certain guy in the media that seems to get picked on every time Baker comes to the podium. I hope that it's some fun. I really do.
No, it's tongue in cheek.
Okay.
By the way, it's not even a question. It's tongue in cheek. And by the way, I love Tony Grossi. I'm glad Tony Grossi gets that love. Tony's one of the nicest guys. Tony's a great guy. He's a fantastic reporter, and Baker and him are. And by the way, I love it. Because that means that's going to be great stories to tell by Tony Grossi, and he's a great storyteller.
Yeah.
So that is good. It's a win for everybody. I thought Baker, though, when it came to plays and other things going on, he's talked about, hey, I started screaming. By the way, let me retrace my steps. Not the things going on, but like storytelling. Like, hey, I got excited when it happened. And again, he really kind of a few times brought it back down to planet Earth, as did everybody in the dais. We don't set goals for ourselves. It really doesn't matter. We're here for wins and losses, and that was the prevailing trump card throughout. Odell brought that up throughout. Definitely Jarvis brought that up. So I think everybody really across that day yesterday really had that moment. Even Garrett today talked about Steve Wilkes, and the next D coordinator, what he's bringing. So you could tell, like, it is really this team is very focused on winning. They seem to be very confident about it, and I think they should be. After what they did in the offseason.
So you've got 4 Type A personalities up on that stage, right? you got, and you can experience this when those type A personalities are genuinely comfortable in who they are, as opposed to type A personalities who still feel like they have to prove something or be something. And I got to tell you, I thought that Baker seemed really poised in what could have been, what could have turned into, a little bit of a circus. Every single one of them were so poised throughout the entire thing. It was very refreshing to see
I agree.
of how well they each had it together, in their own unique capacity.
No, I agree. I thought it was a home run.
Yeah.
And I'd never say that for an introduction press conference.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to sexify something like this. I thought it was a home run.
It was better than you
really.
You wrote in the show notes, and I had thought about it too. And I don't mean to beat up on LeBron. I love you, LeBron. But the whole Dwayne Wade, Bosch and him, that whole introduction stuff, that was pretty contrived. That was kind of circus-like. This is something that just felt, it felt
Very
like
genuine.
everybody, it felt genuine and like they're pieces to the puzzle that are in their right spots.
No, I agree. This was a big moment, and it's not just buzzworthy. I mean it. It was a big moment for the team today.
Yeah.
Everybody, I'm happy for Odell Beckham. He goes away now for a couple weeks and comes back. I am not one of those guys who breaks down what's going on in April minicamp, so for people looking for that, I'll give you some completions, receptions, really. There's a lot more to cover with other teams that are actually playing, like the Indians and stuff. But I think it was good today. I was glad to see everybody up there, and again, I thought it was a home run. Wonderful job by the Browns PR team, and wonderful job by the 4 men on the dais. They handled themselves well, and I thought they all came off very likable. And again, I think for the hidden gem was Jarvis Landry. Jarvis Landry is there's going to be a lot of Odell Beckham jerseys, and certainly there's going to be even more Baker Mayfield jerseys. I think Jarvis Landry today sold some jerseys today, too, for how he acted on that dais. It's very hard not to like Jarvis Landry after today. And I'm sure, I know everybody loved him anyways, but truthfully, after something like that, just be like, oh my God.
Doesn't it just come so counter? The way he even spoke is so counter to the negative, just bad attitude comments that came out of New York.
Again, I really mean this. The Giants, to me, today came off as fuddy-duddies, and they didn't even say a word. They came off as the old school, white-collar, old white men look, coming up to the dais, cookie-cutter comments. They're not playing the Giants way, and the Giants way, we do it by running the ball 3 yards in a cloud of dust. And, that kind of, I'm not saying it's boring, and I'm not saying it's wrong, but it's just old. I think the Browns today are starting something new, and I think it's exciting. And for anybody out there who goes, is it bullshit? It's not bullshit.
And
This
it's
is
not
big
about
time.
it's not about flash either, in a sense.
They weren't flashy today. By the way, there was no fancy videos. There was no music being played when they walked up. It was simply four guys.
Odell didn't come out wearing the early '90s gear that he walked in with. Which, by the way, looked really awesome. He wore that brown suit, man. I loved it.
It looked good. It really looked good. So I don't have much more to add because I don't want to take away from that moment.
Nope.
I think that moment speaks a lot.
I'll just say
I
the
was
one
very
thing,
proud.
Andy. They look great on paper. Whoop-de-hell.
Well, that whoop-de-hell's right. So, speaking about on paper did change today. We had been alluding to this forever, and I think finally the dam was about ready to break with minicamp starting. Emmanuel Ogbah finally got shipped out. He's going to Kansas City. Eric Murray's coming in, and that plays along with their first morning of the day news where Derek Kendrick got cut.
Yep.
Kendrick did really not get any pats on the back in Arizona. I actually put those comments in before even that cut happened, because it seemed like Kendrick might be on his way out. He does. Eric Murray, who's your basic starting safety, not good, not bad. He's in the middle. He ranks 52nd out of 101 safeties. I mean, that's as middle as you can get. But for people to give a reference, in the same ranking, Kendrick was in the low 90s. So that's what you're looking at here, Jared. You're looking at a big upgrade here on safety. I know that from every comment I saw, they were not happy with Kindred. So Kindred's gone. Murray's in. It's a start of the rebuild of the safeties, which is not really a position that gets focused on. They're obviously going to probably bring in a couple more guys, but, I brought up to you initially, I was wondering what they were going to do because they were definitely shorthanded, and I even said they should probably trade Agba for a safety, and they did. And again, I don't want to pick on Emmanuel Agba, but I meant it a couple weeks ago when I said it. His rookie year, he made some plays. I remember making impact on games. Jared, the 0-16 year and last year, I don't remember Agba doing much. If I'm being honest
and when
with
you're
you.
talking about you've got Myles Garrett drawn extra attention.
Yeah.
Agba should have done a lot more
the last 2 years, and he didn't do it.
Sorry. And on top of that, I did scroll through the comments on Facebook when the Browns made the announcement on this move, and boy, there are people that just don't understand the game of football, I guess. I don't know what to say. I didn't have to play football to understand this, but this move was the right move, and we knew it was coming weeks ago.
Totally
Agba's
right.
going to be gone for a safety. We know that.
Yeah, I mean, again, it made too much sense. And again, Agba had not. Again, tell me the Agba moment. I can definitely point out moments of Larry Ogunjobi. I can certainly point out a few moments even with Peppers. We pointed them out in the podcast.
I think, had a few shared sacks this season with Myles Garrett.
Ogunjobi makes an impact on games. I remember plays he makes. He got cut. Jamie Collins had a couple plays here and there that weren't bad. I remember him jumping off the screen. Yes, he stunk and took too many plays off. But seriously, I still mean this. I thought Jamie Collins was actually better last year in Agba. I just don't remember Agba doing much. I really don't.
I think we were more upset with Jamie Collins because he wasn't delivering like we had expected him to. That's all.
Well, Agba's motor was better, but that doesn't mean you're still you're not worse for wear. And I think the other thing too that kind of wore thin. I got the vibe today and listening to the comments. I didn't realize that Drew Rosenhaus was his agent, and I think that didn't help the situation here. So I'm sure they're like, hey, Agba needs to give him more playing time. This was not like, to me, Perryman. Perryman, I understood, because Perryman did make an improvement last year, and he needs a contract to really show where he is in the league. So Perryman, I get it. Agba, to me, it's like, Agba, you have had so many chances to be a better player and to make this team better on a pass rush, and you haven't done it.
Jumping back to Perryman, I got to tell you, the more that sinks in with me, the more I think to myself, man, Rashad's going to miss out.
He is, but I get it.
He's going to miss out. I get it, but man,
I know. He's not a team guy.
I mean, again, we're talking about, let's jump back to the conversation we had about spreading the ball around and the way that Baker is with the ball. I'm not saying Perryman was going to get, 8 touches a game, 8 catches a game. But he might get 3, and one of them he might break loose. I mean, I don't.
Yeah, well, Perryman was really in a tough spot because of Callaway. I mean, I just think in that team, like Callaway, Hollywood Higgins.
We're expecting Callaway to not drop the ball this season. That's where I'm at with that kid.
He was better.
He got better through the second half of the season. Absolutely.
I think David Njoku is my guy. Well, I thought
he improved. I know you want another tight end, so that's fine. Whatever.
That's fine. But that's my guy. I'm like, I really want to see some drastic improvement.
And I think both of us.
That's his 3rd year in the league. He's not a rookie last year. This is his 3rd year.
I think both of us would like to see the Browns find some way to make amends with Duke Johnson, by the way. Obviously, a fan favorite. Everyone loves Duke. Everyone feels that Duke doesn't get enough of his share of the ball. I'm included in that over the past handful of years, who thought that they should be working him in more often, more aggressively, especially catching the ball. I love him in space. But Duke doesn't want to be here, according to rumors.
Well, I think Duke is really in a crosshairs because I think if Duke was a third down starting running back, I think he'd be okay. To be honest with you, you know this. I'm not in the Duke Johnson camp as much as you are. But here's where I see Duke. I think Duke is a very valuable backup running back. Either as a backup third back or as a third down back or as a backup starting running back. And there is a role for that in the NFL. Because running backs take hits, running backs have to make plays, and I like him getting in the game for about, let's say 30-35% of the game. I like that. I don't want to see Duke Johnson more than that. But Duke Johnson, obviously, it touched a nerve. for how much I love Dorsey and for how much I love the way he goes about things. Dorsey saying that comment the way he did the day of the Kareem Hunt signing has not sat in well with Duke Johnson. I don't blame him. That comment did not come out well.
No.
I'm sure Dorsey wished he had that moment back. And I think, okay, I want to go backwards to go forward. I thought Freddie Kitchens' statement today about Ogba said a lot. Hey, I don't want to comment on players who aren't here. He's not here. I want to comment on the players who are here. What about Duke Johnson? And he hesitated. Because he didn't want to say that. Because I think Kitchens realized.
Yeah, but Freddie also sounded kind of frustrated.
No,
and this
he
is what I'm going to say. Between Dorsey making the comment that he did after the Kareem Hunt signing and Freddie Kitchens today, this is going to be I'm going to tell, all of you listening, this is going to be one of the problems with having honest people running your football team. They're not going to always be able to hide stuff. They're going to say things that might end up biting them in the ass in the end, or later on down the road. But they're not. These are real people. These are honest people. John Dorsey and Freddie Kitchens have proven that with Dorsey's comments after the Kareem Hunt signing about Duke that started all of this, and now jumping to Freddie, and Freddie's reaction today sounded rather. And maybe I need to listen to it again. It sounded like he was aggravated. It sounded like he was aggravated, not in the same sense that he was, with Ogba. Ogba, he kind of blew off. This one, he sounded like he was repeating the whole, it's not mandatory. But you could tell he wished Duke was there. At least that's what I took.
Well, I think so too. I think Duke Johnson actually provides a good service. And Duke doesn't want to hear this, but Duke is a third running back on this team, but he's the second running back until Kareem gets off suspension. Once Kareem gets off suspension, he is definitely taking a third. He's definitely taking a third back role. He is. He's not going to be playing a whole lot. But as we know in this league, and you and I discussed this, it's a running back league where it's a quarterback league. Running backs get hurt.
Yeah.
Reverse it. Little Willy Wonka there. But that's what I mean by that comment. Like, you are going to have running backs nicked up. You're going to have running backs hurt. Duke Johnson's
Be glad
going
that
to
you're
going to
have knees in your 40s.
Well, that's my point. And that's something where I think if Duke...
There's positives to take out of it.
Well, that's my point. I think Duke Johnson needs to remember that. Ogba needs to play, or whoever the starting defense... Now it's going to be Olivier. Olivier needs to be out there 70-80% of the snaps.
Right.
Duke Johnson doesn't need to be, Jared. Like, honestly, I think in their minds, hey, Duke, you get your 20% on downs. It's going to save you. And by the way, and there's going to, Jared, it always happens. In the late in the rounds, as the rounds keep going, let's bring up Todd Gurley. Let's bring up any other examples. Someone gets nicked up in the playoff run, or maybe weeks leading up to a Duke, you're going to get 50% again of the carries or snaps or whatever.
With fresh legs.
With fresh legs. And that's where it plays huge. Running back's the one position in NFL that happens. It's not, what I just said is not weird. Ogba getting snaps next year, Jared, we both know. Probably not. It just wasn't going to happen. Duke Johnson, there's a chance. Nick Chubb, any of these guys can get nicked up. Maybe Kareem Hunt doesn't work out. I mean, that's why I think he hesitated too, because he knows there's a role for Duke Johnson in his team right now. Now, let's go to the present. It was made word today that his group has made it out there he wants to get traded.
Yeah.
So they have a tricky situation on their hands. Again, it's easy with Ogba. They were ready to get rid of him just as much as Ogba didn't want to be here. So that was easy. Jared, this is the first time I don't know if there's an easy switch here. Because if they let Duke Johnson go and they trade him, and God forbid one of your running backs gets hurt, this is going to really bite them.
They move him, you're going... I believe that they're gonna draft a running back at some point, and
there's no question
whether they want to or not. Even if Duke is here,
yeah. I guess what I'm saying is Duke's a much more valuable backup than Ogba is.
Yes,
he just is.
Right, and I don't think that there needs to be. I mean, is there? I guess Duke has it in his head that he should have a more prominent role. Well, I don't know what to say other than prove it. But at the same time, if the plays aren't going his way, if he's not getting the calls, here's
what I'm going to say about Duke Johnson. Here's what I'm going to say about Duke Johnson. And this is going to make you cringe, I think. But I'll just be honest with you. Duke is an average running back. And he's average out of the backfield. I have been waiting for a day where I see this burst of speed.
I know.
This new accelerator push where he makes these plays in the open space, and I'm like, oh my God! Jared,
I like that he can catch the ball. I like that. That's where
I didn't say
like
he can.
Him. I know.
By the way, I didn't say he can't.
That's how I like seeing him being used.
No, I know. I just hurt a lot of people's feelings. I know Duke can do that, but I'm just being realistic. When you roll out Week 10, you got Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt, and they're both healthy and ready to play. Duke, I'm sorry, man. I don't know how you're getting the.
I know.
And that's just being realistic here. And then it goes to your point: if they draft a running back and they really like him, well, then Duke, you probably do get traded.
Well, I guess there's a part of me that thinks, okay, well then figure out something. Make a trade with the Jets, and he can wipe his butt with the ball, just like Isaiah Crowell did. Because I feel like there's a.
And by the way, that's a good comparison. I think Crowell's same thing.
Yes, there's a comparison
Crowell
there.
and Duke Johnson's are average running backs. They're not bad. They're just average.
Trent Richardson's.
Oh, Trent Richardson's below average. He's bad. No,
not in the AAF. Bad. He's not.
Oh yeah. Well, they need to stay. They need to. By the way, if anybody in the AFL is listening or getting paid, cash your paychecks immediately.
They
might bounce.
AAF, Andy. AAF.
Whatever. Just cash your paychecks. Who knows what's going on in the league? But going back to this situation here with our running backs, I do hope this kind of works its way out because no, he's not Trent Richardson. By the way, no. He's much better than Trent Richardson, but he's also not Kareem Hunt and he's not Nick Chubb. Okay. And by the way, it's not just this is a small gap. It's a big gap. Those two running backs are considerably better. I'm sorry, they are. But Duke, you have value and you can play. But you're just not it's just not what it is now. And the thing is, and here's where it really kills again, it's not Agba, because I saw Duke Johnson make plays at times. But again, did he jump off the screen, Jared? No. I'm just being honest with you now.
Yeah. We can leave it at that, really. Andy. I mean, I don't really have, my appreciation for Duke Johnson, I think, is where it is for most Browns fans. It's the feeling that he didn't get his fair shot, I guess. I feel like there were times where you thought we finally got him going. Good. Keep going to him. See, keep going to him. Well, that worked. Keep going. And the Browns would never just keep going. They never used him enough in my mind.
Yeah, this is a rare
instance.
And
these are in times where they needed to use him.
Right. And Jared, this is the rare instance where you and I are opposite. I feel like he did and he didn't, and I didn't see anything. It's a rare.
I think maybe we can make that argument in regard to middle of this season on, after he had the family issues that he had.
Yes.
I think that's when that changed.
Yeah, I'll say this. And there's a couple games this year where I was ready for him to blow by people and get in the space and just do things. And I'm just being honest with you. What we saw from Nick Chubb in those few instances and what I saw from Duke Johnson is just night and day. And where the Browns are going with this, they're going to be running a lot more, what's the proper term? What is that new term that everybody uses in the NFL? Fast-paced passing down the field. Can't think of the term right now.
Air raid.
Air raid, thank you. And you know what? Duke Johnson does not fit air raid. I'm sorry. He doesn't really fit air raid at all. But with that said, Duke is not Agba either. I think Duke has a role in this team. And I didn't see it for Agba, if I'm being honest. I didn't think the Agba was going to get many snaps.
I don't know that they're going to be able to convince him, though, Andy. I'm with you.
But again, this is where I'm with you on the Perryman argument, but I'm bringing this to Duke. I think Duke needs to really think about this because later in the year, when nicks and bruises happen, Duke, that you might get a few opportunities to really make a big splash on a big stage.
Yeah.
And I think you need to keep that in mind. Perryman, it would have taken a lot. You'd have needed a lot of injuries or something to happen.
I don't think he was going to get enough.
I didn't think so either. And same with Agba. I didn't think it was going to be enough. But in Duke Johnson's case, not crazy. It's not crazy. Like, it's a lot more playable. I think that's the one. I think Duke needs to be, I guess it's my last word of caution. To what you said is very true, and this is something you and I do agree about. Freddie Kitchens is very frustrated for the first time and doesn't know how to handle, not handle's the right word. He is going into new territory like, you know what, I'm in between here. Part of me knows I need Duke Johnson, and I see a role for him, but that's not the role Duke Johnson wants, and Duke Johnson wants more, and I don't think he deserves more. So it's going to be either a negotiation and they figure it out, or I think, Jared, it'll be interesting to see how much Duke Johnson, it isn't holding out. All these things are voluntary.
The beauty of all this is Freddie might be in a rock and a hard place at the moment, but guess who isn't? John Dorsey. And if he feels the guy needs moved, then he's going to move him.
He's going to move him. That's
He'll
very
pull
true.
the rug right out from underneath him. It does not matter. Carlos Hyde is our prime example.
And boy, was I on the Carlos Hyde bandwagon. So yeah, and I fell off. That was a face plant bad.
That's all right.
But it happens to all of us.
Oh, but I'll never forget pulling into the grocery store parking lot and you ranting in my ear after that trade was made. That was beautiful.
Still think that was a bad trade, but it ended up working out. But it did. It ended up working out. Look,
yes,
I was wrong. I still think at the end of the day, you don't make that trade. But you know what? He did, and it worked out. So I'm wrong. He's right.
Hey,
that's all that matters.
The owners, what is this owners meeting thing? What the hell is that? I don't follow it enough.
Well, in Arizona, they go every year, and it's basically, it's chatter for what happened with Agba. Final pieces and players in place, rules changes, which the big rules change from the owners meeting this year is PIs will be reviewed, which is a good thing. I like that. The game is being slowed down. The NFL's been slowed down anyways by replay, so that doesn't extend it anymore, in my opinion. That's a good thing. I do like the fact, too, they're not changing overtime. I'm one of the
There's
rare guys.
There's a lot of analytical, and I don't mean to mix this up with like analytics, but analytical stuff that goes on when people watch replay anyways. I don't ever feel like that hurts the game. I feel like people argue as they watch the game over what they are seeing happen. Does that make sense?
No, I agree. And I think, the big things that kind of came out, which we saw I think the big thing that came out of those meetings was they all realized because of technology, we need to do different things with pass interference, and they're doing them now. So they'll be reviewed, and that will be a good thing for the sport. It'll be a good thing for games. And I'll be honest with you, we all saw it. That play that happened against the Saints-Rams was ridiculous. If that happens in a Chiefs-Browns game, and we're the Saints and they are the Rams, we'd be livid. So that's a good thing. It needs to get corrected, and it will, and we all move forward. The bigger, I was going to get to a lot of different things today than the Odell Beckham news happened and everything else. The couple key things that really came out of here, which led into this week, was, Dorsey and Kitchens were really I would say, the Pied Pipers. Everybody loves the Browns. So they had a really good week out there. I thought Freddie Kitchens came off well again today. He came off well over in Arizona as well. I think, again, that's not false bravado. The one area that we can touch because we didn't see them today is the Haslams. The Haslams did get asked as well, and they got grabbed. You can tell the Haslams are downplaying the hype, which I think is good, Jared. And Jimmy Haslam, I quote, "We are a lot better, but I think you have to realize we're 2 years away from not winning a game." And I like how he put it in those terms.
I love that, man.
I do too. I thought that was really good.
It is nice to be happy with the words that are coming out of his mouth.
No, even the Haslams are doing a good job. And by the way, I'm not saying they're terrible people, but they're
well, I mean, there's Robert Kraft and then there's Jimmy Haslam, so I'm good. I'll keep Jimmy.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah, exactly. And D. And I thought Dee Haslam's remarks were the best. I really liked how she answered the Kareem Hunt stuff. She was asked about that. He's a really nice young man who obviously made some horrendous mistakes, Dee was quoted, but he's owned them and he wants to be a better person. Listening to John and to Freddie, they felt confident that he would contribute to the team and could do this. It's up to Kareem, obviously. He has to prove it. He's a young man who made a terrible mistake. And basically what she meant to was like, look, Odell Beckham's one thing, but Kareem Hunt was a tough sell.
Yeah,
we really, really needed. And she goes,
It's going to continue to be a tough sell.
It's going to be. And by the way, it is. And I'll tell you,
he's out there volunteering right now in downtown Cleveland, and that's a good thing. That's a good thing.
I'm not going to get off it. I don't think it's the right thing to do. I didn't like the signing. I would not have done it. I will say, because he's a Brown, I support him. I always support the team. And the Browns so far have hit every note so far. It's early, But so far, they've hit every note, and so has Kareem.
Oh, there's plenty of track for this train to derail, brother.
Tons. And I hope for his sake, it doesn't, because I love where the story's going.
I know.
And this will make society better.
He's a local boy.
It just makes everything better if it works out. So I hope for him it does, and I hope he makes the community and himself better, which is the overall goal in all of this.
Absolutely.
I thought D. Haslam handled all of that, and look, there's other whistles and bells you can get into, but really that's where we are, Jared. I think the next big thing is Duke Johnson. The schedule comes out. The big thing that came out, okay, the big last rumor we can talk about, then we'll get to the tribe. I really don't have much more on the Browns right now. The last thing that kind of came out is it sounds like Monday Night Football, it's either going to be a home game. It's either going to be a road game against the Jets or a road game against the Broncos, which I think that's so far-fetched with the Broncos. That
so crazy that game's even brought up, to be honest.
Yeah, and I'll be honest with you.
If anything, it should be a road game against the Patriots or the
Patriots,
Jets.
Right. Well, the interesting thing is, even that rumor, as you and I have talked since last, it hasn't really caught any steam either. So I think the Browns are really in play for anywhere on the first weekend. I really mean that. At the end of the day, again, going back to what my days were at ESPN and knowing the people that run that network and knowing the people that run the NFL, Jets and Browns make a whole lot of sense.
Yeah, it does.
It makes sense because the Jets, you don't know how they're going to be. You get them opening week. Odell coming back to New York. It's a sexy sell. It's Monday night. You kind of want that game off on an island. I would actually say that is the only weekend the Monday Night Football game has more juice than Sunday night. So I think that is a good weekend to lead it off with that game.
We talk about what are they going to do? Send them out west and play late on Monday? That's just that's trash.
I think
trash.
I think that's a thing that's going to get stamped out. And I'll say if it does not, and that opening weekend game is at 10:30 at night, Broncos Browns, it's a big mistake, and I'll leave it at that. That is a big mistake for everyone involved, because that's going to take a lot of the buzz and juice and excitement out of that weekend.
Yep.
So I think it's going to, if I had to guess in Vegas, I think opening weekend's Jets Browns. Again, I think that makes a lot of sense. I think that's a good hype game. I think that's the only game, again, to lead off the year where you can argue Monday night probably has more juice than Sunday night, because you're going to have a whole week. Remember, Thursday kicks it off. You have the first slate of games on Sunday, and then you get the Sunday night. Usually, Jared, people are pretty pooped by the time you get to Sunday night. So if you get a day to reprieve and get ready for Monday, I think that'd be the best. And again, you can run that ESPN hype machine to get into the Jets home opener. And again, the Jets, as season goes on, is more unpredictable. Leading off with the Jets at home makes a lot of sense. Makes a lot of sense. I think that's the game. And you know what? Next week we'll do a fun schedule picking game, which will be total guess. So what Jared and I will do, we'll put it on our blog. We will try to guess all the games in order where we think the Browns are going to pick, and it will be. And what will be funny is if we actually get one or two right, because you want to talk about throwing darts into water with a blindfold. That is the schedule game.
Yeah,
to a T. To a T. So that'll be fun to do. Final points. I'm really
we get
happy
to pick where the bye week goes too. That'll be fun.
Oh, again, it's going to be a mess. But if we get one or two games right, that's a success, in my opinion. My final comment is this. I'm happy for the Browns today. I did not think I was going to have these comments. I'm more excited about the Browns today. A+ to everyone involved in Berea. You really pulled it off. I love how that moment's felt today. Kitchens is Kitchens. I love him more and more every time he talks. It's hard not to get excited about the Browns, and we're only on April 1st. It's hard. I can't believe I'm saying it, Jared, but it's true.
Well, I guess I got to steal this because it was one of my favorite things I saw on social media, and I know that I know he does a radio show. Maybe we're competitors, maybe not. But Ken Carman said Freddie Kitchens is like if biscuits and gravy could talk, that's Freddie Kitchens. And I love that. We'll leave it at that.
Well, it's pretty dead on. Pretty dead on.
If biscuits, he's biscuits and gravy personified. So yeah, nailed it. I lost it. I thought that was perfect. So we'll be right back. Talk about the Indians. Stay tuned.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is 8-Bit Ray from the Gorilla Brain Podcast, part of the Pulse Podcast Network. Did you know that you could be using this spot to advertise your company or business? Well, I've done the research, and PodcastInsights.com report that podcast listeners are loyal, affluent, and mostly college educated. but most importantly, are 5 times more likely to interact with the ad they hear on their favorite podcast than an ad from any other medium. If you would like to advertise your company or brand with our network, it's simple. All you have to do is send an email to marketing@pulsepodcastnetwork.com. I'll say it one more time. marketing@pulsepodcastnetwork.com. And we hope to hear from you soon.
It was opening day, and
Cleveland, Indiana.
there's nothing like a better opening week. You always feel it's the start of spring. You always get that vibe of like, hey, a little bit here into the spring months. Football doesn't take a huge backseat, but it takes a backseat for a little bit as everybody gets excited. Anytime you see Masters, you see the Masters logo and the piano music, the Final Four. This is usually time of year. And there has not been 2 colder climates than Minneapolis, Minnesota, and today at the old ball yard in Cleveland. And, the Tribe has got a lot of, again, playoff experience, playoff hype. The pitching has paid off. The pitching is everything we thought it was going to be. Relief pitching, okay. John Edwards didn't have his greatest stuff today, and Ollie Perez gave up a double. But still, even the relief pitching, you could tell it's there. Not going to be strong, but it's not bad. It's going to be good to okay. I think we're okay there. And then there's the hitting. So I'm going to run off a lot of different things today that happened that were positives. I thought that, thank God they did. Because when the Indians were down 3-1, I was really getting ready to go on a big rant and rave.
Andy, I'm going to call this right now. You're trying to serve me a shit sandwich.
No, I'm not.
You're going to give me a bunch of good up front and a bunch of good in the back end.
Yeah, well,
but what are you filling it with?
Well, here we go. Well, I was proud today that Max Moroff got a big hit. Jake Bowers finally got a hit. And I was glad to see those 2 things. Naquin also got on base today, and that was nice to see. The biggest thing, though, again, they're 2-2 and whatever, and it's April. But even the Indians, by making crazy signings for Cameron Maven, for asking every day, well, Carlos Gonzalez is 1 day closer. Jarid, it's really threefold. Jose Ramirez is going to have to start hitting more. Because as the season rolls on, and I don't think Lindor's coming back quickly. So as that season goes on, he's going to have to carry this lineup. And so far, he has not handled it well.
No.
I love Jose Ramirez, and I love him as a player, and I consider that guy such a great person and great for the Cleveland society. But he's got to play better on the field with his bat. 2, this whole crap about, we have Leonis Martin, we got Jake Bowers, Tyler Naquin, I'm going to start in the outfield. This outfield is not working right now. It's early. Well,
Bowers is playing some great left
His
field.
glove is great. Leonis Martin cannot allow any more balls to get to the track. That's twice now he's misplayed balls in the outfield. I think Leonis Martin is a left and right fielder. I don't think Leonis Martin's a center fielder. We need to see some more games, and Naquin is Naquin. I think he's just off to a rocky start. But the outfield, hitting-wise, shaky at best. And then you got Stamets, who's a young rookie who's very nervous right now, and you could tell Francona's just really wanting to get a hit so he can just calm down a little bit.
Just get it out of his system.
Yeah, exactly. More off until today, had done nothing. Brad Miller actually is the only guy when I see batting Jared outside of Santana.
I was going to say Santana's got to be my surprise, Andy, because I really thought I didn't think he'd have a chance at playing well at the plate at all this season. He's the only one hitting the ball.
He's the only one hitting the ball. Brad Miller, I think, is actually not a bad everyday 100, 120 game second baseman shortstop. He's not terrible. But again, in this lineup, it sticks out a little bit.
Yeah.
Boy, okay. So we got on J-Ram. Hanley Ramirez, thank God you're there. You're never going to go anywhere this year. Stay right there. You can rake still. Then there's Roberto Perez and Kevin Pilecki. It's early.
Well, we can say, Andy, Roberto Perez behind the plate has proved that he can handle it.
There's nothing wrong with his glove.
His glove
but
is
Jared, I'm putting on notice. Those guys.
We knew this, though. We knew without Jan. We knew without Jan that this was going to happen.
There's a lot of eyesores in this team. Jose Ramirez has got left the lineup. The outfield for the Indians hitting wise is pathetic. It's got to get better. And then there's this catcher situation. Roberto Perez and Plecky can't hit. I mean, we're only 4 games in. We got to give this time. But this is the same stuff we saw from Roberto Perez the last 2 years. And Pilecki couldn't hit in New York, so why in the hell would he hit in Cleveland? And I love Pilecki. He's a Boilermaker, but he can't hit. He's a nice guy. He's just a good guy, but he can't hit.
Yeah.
Jared, the outfield and this catcher situation with the bats, the longer it goes like this, again, that's why they signed Maben, Carlos Gonzalez, so you can see, hopefully one of those guys can get jump-started. I know everybody loves Jake Bauers, and he did get a big double today. But I want to see more from Jake Bauers. I'm going to give it time. But those are the areas in his team. And again, I ran through the infield. I don't know what you do as you got injuries. I really don't know what you do. I think the infield is kind of what it is, Jared's my point. Because you have all these injuries. Lindor's coming back. Kipnis is coming back. So you know players are coming. The outfield, though, I would like to see Oscar Machado, or however you pronounce his last name. I want to see him in the outfield. If he was having a hot spring.
This is 2 episodes now. You only get one more.
I can do it a lot more. Thank you.
Is it Machado?
And Oscar, you're going to come on here and correct me. I'm terrible pronouncing names. By the way, as I learned this week, it's Stamets. Stamets, yes. Not the other way I said it. And it's Luplo, not Luplo. It's Luplo. So I learned a lot. See, I pronounced both right. Oscar, as soon as you come up, I'll pronounce it correctly too, and we'll all be there. And I love you. I'm not a bad guy. I just can't pronounce names. But again, catcher and the situational hitting, this lineup, Jared.
Andy, this is my thing. I feel like all we've been doing is trying to convince ourselves and talk each other into this.
I can't do.
Oh no, but
Jared,
look,
I'm already broken.
They're just young.
No, Jared, I'm broken.
But look,
he's bad.
Worked on his hitting down in the Dominican Republic.
Oh no, I don't know.
But look, he can do this. I think he's shown improvement. Listen,
I know. Kevin Pilecki's a Boilermaker.
These are the
it's got to work out.
conversations that we've had.
I know.
Andy.
Oh, Jared, we're in such trouble.
First of all, let me just say this too.
Oh no, I know.
I love our starting pitching. I love our starting pitching.
Again, I let it off. Starting pitching.
Not all of it though. I am very
no cookies.
I was down on Carrasco for a while. I'm way down on him now. I don't know what he's doing I just don't think that he can handle being in that third position. See, pitching.
I'm so different on Carrasco. I know what he does this every year. He's fine. I know what he is. He's great. He'll be good. You'll love him. You'll have cookies for lunch and later in June.
Okay.
He'll be fine. But I really mean that. I think Carrasco will be fine. I think as the season goes on, because I think Carrasco is what it is, and it sticks out more because you can't hit. But yes, does Carrasco have these moments? Absolutely. He had a bad first game.
Yeah.
But Carrasco will figure it out. He always gets his straight out.
Well, when this starting rotation as a whole, when we're in July and this starting rotation as a whole has somewhere around a 3 or below ERA, and they haven't gotten the wins that we've expected, I'm going to be really pissed off.
Well, and that's
I'm going to be really effing pissed off.
Well, so that's why I'm stressed out, because folks, this cannot go much longer. This is sticks and glue.
But it's going to. The argument, Andy.
I know, but
the argument
Jared,
is
we're
playing the long game. We've got a team that doesn't have the budget.
I know. So
we're playing the long game. We want to be competitive for a long time.
So I'm going to drink realistic wine. Let's drink some realistic wine. Okay. You can make a trade for a catcher can hit. You can also bring in these younger kids to start playing the outfield, because I'm ready to see them play. Because I think you need to push
who gives a
Naquin.
shit? Throw him out there.
Yeah, seriously. By the way, Luplo, you seem like a nice guy. You can't hit. I'm so sorry. I don't mean to be so mean, but you can't hit. It's so obvious to me you're not very good. Like, we need to move you along. Like, we need players who can push. I'll tell you another guy.
Tito's not going to make those moves in the lineup right now because he does not want to just shake everything up just because things aren't working.
The only thing we got going for us is
he's going to be tactical
I know.
about this.
I will say this, and it's so wonderful, and it's lovely to say,
The White Sox are such crap.
Oh, yeah.
They did what they did
I was
today.
going to say that, too.
If I called that, they are crap. They are
Thank
just a
God.
bad team.
They are as bad as they
They
are.
are a bad team. Oh, my God, are they bad? That is a bad team. They're properly picked under by me on my blog. On our blog. My blog, our blog. Boy, I'm being
Well,
selfish.
might as well be. You're the only one who writes on it. So.
I know. I'm not using the Freddie Kitchen words. Oh, I'm thinking about I. Such a bad teammate. Shame on me. Wash my
be
mouth
careful
out.
with that I word.
I know. So bad. God, Freddie, you gotta teach me a lesson or two. But I am really stressed out about this lineup. And again, I brought up the key points. Jose Ramirez has got to start hitting above 200.
I had a feeling
Now
he
it's
wasn't
early in the
going
season. I think,
and I know that sounds, like, well, yeah, of course you can say that. No, well, I know, but I think all of us felt that way.
Well, I think Jose. I'll be honest with you. Jose's got a lot of pressure on him because he's the one guy who can anchor this lineup. I agree with you about Santana. Santana can't anchor this lineup. Hanley Ramirez can't anchor this lineup. He's past his prime. The one guy
I don't
who
think Santana wants to anchor the lineup. I think Santana's going to start getting pissed off if he's the one anchoring the lineup.
I know. He can't do it anyways. So that's the key thing. And again, the outfield just cannot keep going. I'm telling you, as someone who watches baseball for a long time, this outfield can't continue much longer. You cannot have as many strikeouts, how many bad at-bats, how many weak grounders. I mean, do you know how many weak ground-outs I've seen this year from all these guys? I mean, you just can't do it.
Well,
the infield,
you've seen less weak groundouts than you have seen strikeouts. I can tell you that.
Well, today we had the weak groundouts. The other week, this past weekend, we had strikeouts.
What are they at now, though? 40 what? 44, 45?
Today, the White Sox stink, so they can't strike anybody out, but so we didn't get that. But again, and that's the thing, too, like, Stamit's a nice kid. He shouldn't be playing big league ball right now. Moroff's a good backup. I do like Miller. I think Miller's a nice find. And again, I know players are coming to the infield, so I see where this is going. And yes, Carlos Gonzalez is coming, and boy, you won't talk about who needs to be running to Cleveland. We need Carlos Gonzalez running to Cleveland, and he's not. It's going to take a few weeks for him to get ready to go.
Well, now what I'm hearing about Lindor is the big problem with Lindor's injury is that while it might seem like it heals quickly,
yeah, I know
it can
Michael
be
Brantley
easily
theory.
jacked up again just as quickly as it heals, and he'll be out forever.
They talked about that a lot on Hamilton. Talked about that a lot today on the radio broadcast.
Yeah, he's going to Wisconsin, right, to go and get his second opinion.
Yes. He went to Green Bay today. There's a specialist up in Green Bay who the Indians have used in the past for ankles, and he now bases himself out of Green Bay, Wisconsin. So yeah, he went to go see him today. We're going to find out more. I'll be honest with you. Anytime you see a specialist, I have learned this. It's a delay, especially in baseball.
Yeah.
In football, you'll rush anybody back on the field if he thinks he can play. Baseball is not
cortisone
football.
Shot and get on the field.
Exactly. Baseball, they will wait it out. I think, Frankie, it's going to be May at the earliest. I think even June's in play.
And I think
June's
that's
in play.
going to hold back Jose Ramirez.
I don't think you're wrong. I'm not. And by the way, I want to repeat this. I love Jose Ramirez. I have a T-shirt. I have a T-shirt of him. I want him to do so well. I'm not going to try.
His story is amazing. We've talked about this a million times. Andy.
Million times. I don't want to trump what Jared said because he's right. Jared, he's going to have a lot of pressure on his back, and he's going to have to do a lot of things that he's not used to doing. No. But he has to do. Jared, I don't see where else it's coming from.
Well,
I don't see where else it's coming from. By the way, we could use Bradley Zimmer to come back too.
I think I'm going to buy some of his salsa, and I'm going to use that as my good luck charm. That's what I'm going to do. That's all I've got, Andy. I don't know what else to do. I'm going to watch every game. I'm going to get in the car and drive to Baltimore to go to class and listen to Tom, call the games. I'm going to be checking in on scores.
Hammy and Rosie, by the way, if you ever want a good chuckle, Hammy and Rosie not only call a great game, they are funny. I love those guys.
They were hilarious today as I was driving in early on. It was like the third inning, and they were funny.
Even in a Sunday blowout, they're great to listen to. I do want to hit home, and you already touched upon it, but I want to hit it with a hammer. Kluber was great. Bauer was great. Clevenger was great. I know Bieber got roughed up in his first game, but that was an odd thing.
You mean Carrasco. Don't you dare say Bieber.
No, Bieber came in Sunday and got roughed up.
Never mind. I forgot about that part. Yeah, because I wasn't watching it. I walked away at that point. You're right. My bad.
See our podcast friends. See, he didn't. Yeah, I knew.
I told you. I went into the kitchen. I walked away. I walked away into the kitchen. I think I was making a quiche. I'm not even kidding you. I'm dead serious. I was making a quiche.
Yeah, and Carrasco's gonna be fine. I'll pull my buddy Mr. Watson back out of the 40 bridge. It's fine. Look, Carrasco's fine. So. It's fine. He does this every year. He'll be fine. But the pitching is fantastic, and I don't think the bullpen's bad. I really don't. I think the bullpen's okay to good. Simber today had a throwing error. I think that threw him off. I like how they're using Simber. I want to see more out of John Edwards. I can tell Francona's leaning more on John. John gave up a bomb today. So you can't take one relief appearance and say that's Edwards. That's not fair. But I want to see more of Edwards. I'm more of a Neil Ramirez guy. I know Neil didn't pitch great on Sunday either, so time will tell. Oliver Perez also struggled today. But again, I think the parts are there. Perez will be fine. I think Simber's fine. I like Brad Hand a lot. And by the way, you're only talking 8th or 9th inning right now because I think those starters are going to go into the 7th inning. So the Indians have a good bridge here. Their pitching's there. There's no. And by the way, pitching is.
Listen, they will be able to go into that 7th inning all year if they can run that 5-man rotation.
And by the way, they are focused. You want to talk about starting rotation? It's focused. The Indians are not fucking around.
5-man rotation. It's got to be 5. There's no way they're going to be able to handle them innings otherwise.
No. So that is where the Indians are at. Again, I don't want to jump again, and I need to say this to myself, not just to everybody out there, to me. It's only 4 games in. You need to give. This is a baseball rule, and I'm not listening to my own baseball rule. You need to give it a month. After April is when you can start saying, okay, let's see the returns and see where you're at.
Yeah.
But my early returns, and this is very, very, very early, Jose Ramirez is going to do a lot more this year than what he wants to. And I know Jared's facial reaction feels what I'm saying. I agree with you. I think it's asking a lot. The outfield has to do more than what it's doing. Whether it's Jake Bowers, whether it's Martin, whether it's Naquin. Someone has to start hitting consistently. None of those outfielders are pulling their weight at all right now.
Andy,
someone has to start hitting.
I think Jose Ramirez, this is my fear. Jose Ramirez got accidentally way better than anyone ever expected him to. And when he's struggling, he doesn't know how to get out of that.
We'll find out. I think
that's what I'm worried about.
I think Jose just
I don't want
needs
him to overthink it. That's my thing.
It should have been only 1 hit, but he got 2 more hits today. One of them I thought was an error, but they gave him a hit, so it's a hit.
Yeah.
Okay, so you take it. I think Jose just needs to take a breath and get confidence, because when he's hot, and he rides it. I think that will help. I will also say, this is the other reason why I should listen to myself. The Indians by far have proven over the last 5 years with Francona as a manager, they hate April baseball. This team just does not like hitting in April, and it's proven again this year. And again, my last comment, I really do like Pilecki and Roberto Perez defensively, and Jared hit on it. He's right. But my God, they are a liability at the bat. I
mean, Andy, they got 8 hits today. I mean, that's a lot. I mean, that's more than I expected. And what's funny is, though, I mean, with the White Sox with 3 hits, got their 3 runs. God, that hurts. But the Indians with 8 hits, that's a decent sign if you want to try to look for a silver lining.
They took a lot of walks today. I thought the walks today. I'll leave you on this note. I thought the walks were great today.
And we can say, and you know what? You got a base hit out of your first 5 guys in the lineup. You got at least a base hit out of all 5 of them.
Roberto Perez hasn't gotten a hit, but he had the biggest play in the game. He got a walk and scored the winning run. I'll give him credit for that. That was a big at bat. And again, I think and I really mean this. This is going to be important. They need to take walks. This team needs to get as many bases as they can and get on and get aggressive.
Tito said it right.
Oh, it's going to, again, I'll leave you on that comment. We're going to have to earn everything we get this year. So with that said, I've now jumped off the bridge too. I'm bunging back off the bridge. Let's give this until April. That's my early returns. I will say, though, I'm more panicked than what I thought I was going to be.
What do we want? 500 ball into April? 500 ball?
Actually, I'll even take 8 and 12 if I see these things develop.
Okay.
Hey, J Ram is turning into a 250 hitter and he can lead this line. Okay, cool.
Okay.
Hey, Roberto Perez is hitting 200 and he's getting some feet. Okay, cool. Leonis, one of these hitters, Martin, Bowers, or Naquin, is hitting 250 and is showing some power. Okay, cool.
They're going to have to chop, man. They're going to have to chop. They're going to have to do it.
I know. Boy, I'll tell you this, too. Last night, I'm interested to see the Indians' home run totals at the end of the year.
Yeah. Wow.
That outfield, boy.
Again, something else to bring up to Mandy because I guess, the team was looking at Bowers to be the guy to
It's
hit the long
early.
ball.
It's early.
It is.
And again, that's why I don't want to put him on the standalone. Martin, Naquin, or Bowers, someone has to distinguish themselves. And I mean power, banging crap off the wall, showing scary fly balls to home run balls.
Well, we've already seen Hanley Ramirez.
Guy's great.
Hit the hardest home run. Look, and he is hitting the ball. So what is he now? He's 3 for 13 at the moment, right?
By the way,
he was 2 for 9 coming into today. He's 3 for 13. I'll take that at the moment.
Can you imagine the Indians didn't have Hanley Ramirez on the team?
Oh, God
Jared.
Bless.
Jared, how in the hell was he the last guy to make the roster?
I don't know.
That's what I want to ask. I am going to ask that.
Look, he's not he might not be hitting for the best average on the team, but the guy can peel the skin off a baseball.
Has presence in that lineup.
Yes, he does.
He's the one guy. Okay, last statement on this whole thing. I would be surprised if Hanley Ramirez is not batting 5 or 6 all year. I think that's what he is. That's what he's going to do. It's a staple.
Yep. And who knows? It could pay off. He might get a little.
Already has
pep in his step. I think
it already has.
Hey, he's going to get the confidence. That's fine. Let's hope a couple other, some of these other guys can get a little of that confidence as well. I
agree.
I'm not completely down in the dumps. But man, it's not hard to see this team not living up to the expectations of prior Indians teams. I know, who was it? Clevenger talked about today's win feeling like 2016 in the way that it's unconventional and how they made it happen and not all the wins in 2016.
Well, by the way, he's right, but yeah. I'm just gonna okay, I don't want to shit on this win because it was a good win today. But I'm telling you, as someone who studies sports, White Sox are crap. That is a bad team.
Yeah.
The White Sox in the first inning basically said, "You know what, Leonis Martin, do you need a double? We can't play outfield day. Guy lost the ball in the sun. Jose Ramirez, hey,
these are the things that they can't be doing either that we talked about. They have to play perfect baseball.
Oh, I know. Well, the White Sox did that today, so the White Sox were the ones who were throwing the ball around.
We don't have any.
And by the way,
Simber
did too. And again, that's. Yeah, okay.
Another stat thing, another thing that we're going to have to watch for throughout this season, and we've gone back-to-back series with division rivals. And Andy, the past handful of seasons, we've been averaging about 50 wins within the division. And you figure you're playing around 70+ games against division rivals throughout the season. We've been winning 50 of those games each year that we've won the AL Central.
Well.
I don't know how we keep that number up.
Well,
even winning that many in the division, it's still been close.
My quick early returns are same old White Sox. Seriously?
Yeah,
same old White Sox.
The Twins are where it's going to be.
Yeah, it's. Same old White Sox. Again, I don't understand the White Sox hype. They get hyped every year. I don't understand it.
Listen to the White Sox podcast to figure that out.
Yeah, seriously, I'm sure they can tell you how great these players are. They don't look great. They don't look great. I've never seen a team with more false hope than the White Sox. I will say though, and again, it's early. The Twins have a certain, not early, not cocky. They are much better than last year. Now, does that mean they're going to win 95 games? Nope. They only might win 79 or 80. But the Twins, Jared, have improved their bats. And I'll say Nelson Cruz and Trevor Bauer, I'm looking forward to more matchups because Trevor was right. You stuck out your elbow over the plate and deserved to get plunked.
Well, and
Nelson
this is
Cruz
something
went
I want.
off.
Now that you bring this up, is something that I felt that where, and I do want to jump back to the game prior. See,
It's amazing. We're the only ones who love talking baseball so much. I can talk.
I
baseball
don't care.
all day.
Listen, Andy,
I did too. I'm
a baseball nerd. I played 13 years.
I did too.
I played college ball. That's all I did was play baseball.
For people
Baseball
who
was
love
my
this
life.
podcast, we will do Browns. I will talk. Jared and I will probably break down every 162 games. Anyway, go ahead.
It's gonna happen.
I can. I
I
watch every game.
Listen,
too.
if
Go
you
ahead.
don't like it, go. I don't care. Go.
No, and buy Podcoin. Don't. He doesn't know. You should stick around.
Andy.
Anyways, I digress.
Andy, when I was bitching to you about Carrasco throwing meatballs, and it looked really early like he was not able to find his spots, and he was leaving the ball over the plate. The other thing that stood out to me was, and I told you, I tell you, I said Diaz was going to crank one out at one point. I said it was going to happen. I said it was going to happen. It's going to happen. And you know why? Because what I noticed was Bauer had no fear going inside. Bauer hit his spots.
Yes.
He got pissy when it came inside, which, by the way, your hand is a part of the bat. That should have been a foul ball. Am I wrong on that, or is that something is that a rule that's
Nelson
changed?
Cruz is going to have.
I'm sorry, Cruz, not Diaz.
Nelson Cruz is going to have more moments with Trevor Bauer because Trevor Bauer don't give a shit. And by the way, Trevor shouldn't. And by the way, Trevor shouldn't because you know what?
And
if
Cruz thinks that he deserves. No, but this is my problem. This is my problem. Carrasco was afraid to go inside on him.
I know. Well,
Carrasco did not go inside on Cruz. Why?
Carrasco and Bauer are two different pitchers. And I know.
That's been my problem with Carrasco in the past.
I'm going to have to bring up Cookie Carrasco defense arguments. Here's what I'll say to wrap up the Carrasco thing. They're two different pitchers, and by far Bauer right now is in a better place than Carrasco, okay? There's no question. If you told me in a big series, who am I going with? Oh, Trevor Bauer, selecting me every day. And honestly, I'll be fair. If you go, hey, game 3 to start your playoff game in mid-April, who are you choosing, Clevenger or Carrasco? Hey, sunshine, come on the mound. I mean, I'm not naive, okay? But Carrasco does have a role in this.
Strikeouts in 7 innings. God
I know
bless.
He's nasty.
Oh,
and I'll tell you, and again,
he's increased the velocity.
I'm telling you though.
I love
Carrasco does this every year. I think Carrasco will be just fine by September.
Okay.
He always is. He'll be just fine, and everything will be fine and dandy. And you need Carrasco's on your team. You do.
I'm going to need the hitting to be fine by September more so than I am Carrasco.
I forgot to bring up this point. So last one, then we got to get to that Saturday night debacle.
Oh, God, yeah. Sorry.
It's fine.
You say it's fine, but your voice says otherwise.
I'm going to save it for the end.
Yes.
I hate as a sports fan. Let me. All right, let's save for the end.
Save for the end. Wrap up the tribe.
What was I going to say about? I had a very good
Carrasco.
point here about,
you were going to defend Cookie again, weren't you?
No, early on too. The Yankees are another team that's very banged up. But from what I can tell in the Bronx, the one thing that they're short on is starting pitching. And they have a plethora of young, good hitters. The Indians have a plethora of young, good starters. Yeah. Now, I don't think this is going to happen. I don't. But I'm telling you, if you really want to make a trade and a swap, you could easily make a trade right now for one of our young, good starters for a really good young hitter or two from the Yanks. Because the Yankees really need starting pitching, and the Indians really need young hitters. And
it's not going to happen.
And it's not, and I'll tell you, I'm going to parallel these teams all year because I think the Yankees and the Indians are the same teams with opposite problems. And it'll be interesting to see how they go. And the Yankees, too, are very banged up. Stanton went on the DL today. And Adelar, again, I can't pronounce his last names. He also went in the DL today. So the Yanks have injury problems. So I think these two teams that are very much predicted to go into playoffs have very similar teams with opposite issues. The Yankees they don't have any starting pitching. They just don't. They can't roll them out. And the Indians really need hitters. Really need hitters.
It's not going to happen, though. I don't think.
No, I don't think we'll either.
And I really think it goes back to the Indians again. I'm sorry. Did Paul Dolan go on television prior to
you know what?
Today again?
You know what? Damn it. We were going to talk about that article today.
Andy, let's not even talk about it now. Let's talk about it tomorrow because or Wednesday or whenever the hell.
When we have Hayden Grove on, we'll talk about Hayden Grove.
There's a lot to go on there, and I really... I am...
How about this? That article has set the tone in a way for this year.
I feel like I'm being drawn and quartered in regard to my feelings on this.
All right.
Whether... Do we want to go after it now, or are we really just this low-budget team, this small-market team that is trying to maximize production in the upcoming years? And that's the struggle. That's the struggle. And I don't know that going all in on anything this season, especially at this point, what's the point? You might as well see what works, keep the pitching you have. And again, you've said it, Andy. This team's built for 2020, not for 2019.
Yep.
So,
all right, last chance. You want to go in the Dolan, or you want to save it for the middle of the week?
Save it. I want to save it.
Okay. All right.
I really do want to save it because I feel like it's going to take up a lot of time.
All right.
And we're already going on like an hour and a half of this show. So.
Yes. All right. Let's transition to the Final Four. Last couple of things real quick. We'll get in the Cavs with Hayden Grove. Colin Sexton's great. I told everybody in this podcast he'd be great. He's turned to be great. He's actually setting some records as a rookie in scoring. I think the thing to watch for the Cavs now is where they're going to laugh in the lottery. I'll be honest with you, Jared. I feel like last Nostradamus. They went on this long West Coast trip, and what has happened? They've lost 5 in a row. They are now lost in the weeds in the shuffle of sports, and they're going to Phoenix tonight. That's probably their last chance to get a win. Then they go to Golden State. You cannot pick the worst moment, in my opinion, because they're beehive pissed off about everything right now. So you're going to go into that. You have 2 more home games after that. I think the bigger positive here is Kevin Love. I think is going to be tough. I think the big discussions are with the Cavs. What are you going to do with Kevin Love? I think Tristan Thompson's gone.
Yeah,
and Colin Sexton's shown a lot. I think those are the things that you need to find out, and he did. Okay, Final Four. The Duke-Michigan State game was incredible. I thought this was the best Elite 8 game weekend I can ever remember.
Yep.
I even thought Texas Tech Gonzaga was pretty good. Look, for how much I fucking hated the ending. UVA Purdue was great. We'll get to that last. But let's start off with the big game on Sunday night. Duke finally fell apart. Michigan State, for how much I dogged them, for how many times I said they can't do it. Boy, Jared, Cassius Winston is looking a lot more and more like Mateen Cleaves did in 2000. I give Michigan State so much credit. They gutted out. They are only running with 6 or 7 guys on the floor. This team, Nick Ward has hand injuries and doesn't have hand injuries.
What are we
and
talking
they keep
about?
Winning games.
The argument is always this. I feel like it makes sense. 5th-year seniors over freshmen every year.
Yeah, and I'll tell you.
Right? I mean, imagine if Duke were to stay together. Imagine if the rules were different.
Well,
imagine whatever the one and done.
Well, I want to say this.
For it being what it is, it was one hell of a game.
It was one hell of and a great win for the Big Ten.
Zion was a beast throughout the entire season. I'm telling you, this is... It was really good basketball. And at the end of the day, Michigan State, and free throws. You got to make free throws, right?
Make free throws. Michigan State really put pressure on the glass. I actually thought they tired out Zion. That was the first game all year
towards the end of that second half,
where Zion looked gassed. Yep. And that's an incredible statement. By the way, even Anthony Davis at his height with the Kentucky Wildcats had some games he looked gassed. That is the first time all year I'm like, boy, Zion looks tired. His shirt was untucked. He was sweating. He was panting a lot. They made him run. I give so much credit to Michigan State in that game. Yeah. And I'll tell you.
And Duke had I think it was 3. There were, at least, maybe this was a second half. Michigan State had a handful of breakaways and breakaway points, and Duke had none. And I think that hurt them too.
And again, it's like anything else in sports, and Purdue, we'll get to them next. You have to make shots. The Michigan State kid hit a big shot to put him up 2. Yeah. That was the difference in the game. When you hit shots late in games, it doesn't matter if it's minute 30 or 30 seconds or 13. Under 2 minutes, when you make shots like that kid did for Michigan State, it really puts you in a big position to win, and they pulled it out. Again, I think Duke, you kind of hit it. I think Duke finally ran into a problem I alluded to on some blogs when I was writing. I really felt like Duke's three-point shooting wasn't as strong as what people alluded to.
Right.
And I really caught up with them in the tournament. Duke really didn't have a shooter. Duke really didn't have a guy. Like, they had guys who could score, but you need guys who could shoot like Ryan Klein did for Purdue.
Well,
like
you needed shooters because they were not as this was the surprise to me. I thought that they would have been a lot more trouble in the paint, and Michigan State's defense was defensively on both sides of the ball. It was a great game to watch. Mm-hmm. Not something that
great
if you watch NBA basketball, it's like night and day. And this game was defensively, it was just they were grinding.
3 of the 4 games, Auburn, Kentucky. I thought Purdue UVA was one of the. God, ended wrong. As my son Cameron said, it's a false ending. But for everything else, those games were great. And I'll say this again. I think Duke, the shooting finally caught up with them. They were not a great shooting team. I thought their athleticism, and I thought Zion would be able to lift them. It didn't. Give Michigan State credit. And again, I don't think it was an error that Jim Delaney ran down those steps, and he's a Big Ten commissioner, and gave Tom Izzo a big hug. That was a huge win for the conference. Yeah. I think Michigan State's the team to beat. They are the favorite in Vegas for a reason. I think they're going to be tough to beat down the stretch. They play Texas Tech. Big thing about Texas Tech is Chris Beard's a night guy. They can really guard. They can really play defense. That is going to be your tough matchup muscle with rebounding. Michigan State does that can dribble and rebound. And they have and Cassius Winston's great. I think that's what makes a difference in that game. Auburn is really fast. They play great. Kentucky's another team. Kentucky doesn't really have a shooter. Kentucky really doesn't have a go-to like, hey, he's going to get us buckets. Auburn is a team of I don't know their names, but man, can they play. And they play fast. And I'll say, for entertainment value, the more Auburn wins, the more entertaining Charles Barkley is. So if you want entertainment value, I was going to say, if you want entertainment value, that's great. It's good to see new teams win. The other back note there is Kentucky. It sounded like Calipari's getting pulled away by UCLA, but that guy put rest of the days, they gave him a lifetime contract, yada, yada, yada. Okay. I apologize. I know Purdue's not a big enough team, but I'm going to give it, because I love Purdue. That was the most gut-wrenching loss on Saturday night.
I know.
I was angry. I was upset. It is real.
I left you alone.
Well, thank you, because some other people didn't. I got really short.
No, I left you alone.
I got really short with one young lady, which I'm going to apologize later today, because she did not do anything wrong. She goes, "What the hell, Andy?" I'm like, Amber, not now. This is not the time. Text me. Look, I had called my dad when Ryan Klein went to the free throw lines. I'm like, oh my God. I was only 1 when Purdue went to the last Final Four in 80. So I have not seen Purdue go to the Final Four. I'm like, oh, holy shit. We're going to the Final Four. Carson Edwards, so good in that game. And Ryan Klein and Edwards were so great on Thursday night. Jared, I thought we were going to the Final Four. And
I did too.
Look,
I did too. When they retook the lead late in the second half, I thought, holy shit.
Bad. What really fucking bothers me is, for people who don't know, Purdue's last chance to go to the Final Four was in 2000. They played Wisconsin, and their coach happened to be Dick Bennett. Tony's dad is Dick Bennett. So it's nothing against them, and they seem like very nice people. So this is just sports ranting. I don't mean this. I fucking hate the Bennetts. I fucking don't like that they do this to me as a fan. I don't like them. I don't want them to win. I don't like Tony waving around that goddamn net. That fucking sucked. I'm sorry. Like, it wasn't good. Like, it wasn't cool. Like, it was a great play. UVA is a hell of a team. They won it the right way. If I weren't cheering for Purdue, I'd probably be very ecstatic for UVA. But God damn it, Jared, that loss hurt.
I know.
And as a Purdue fan, we're not Duke, we're not Kentucky, we're not UCLA, we're not these teams that just bounce back. We only get these moments once every 10 years.
Yeah, I know.
This is their 10 years, and I don't know. I hope we do get back. Look, I think people have been way too hard. That last play at the end of the game where Edwards in overtime threw it to Klein, that was a goofy play. That did not cost him the game. Painter did a wonderful job getting his team in place.
I don't think that at all.
And people
I don't
really
think
got
the game comes down to that.
People went way too much crap on that on Twitter, and I love Francesa, and I'm a big fan of his, but Francesa's wrong. Bennett and Painter coached a wonderful game. I thought you look at any other day, Purdue's going to the Final Four. UVA played that well. They shot the hell out of the ball. They played great. Purdue, I mean, goddamn, every time they need a shot, Carson Edwards, bang. Carson Edwards, bang. I was like, oh, it was just insane. But
he had 40 plus, didn't he?
42. He set the record for most 3-pointers made in the tournament. By the way, Glenn Rice had that record. Glenn Rice played 6 games and won the championship in '89. So Carson Edwards in 4 games has more 3-point, has a 3-point record. It's not going to the Final Four. It is a bummer of a loss. And it's like the 2016 thing as an Indians fan. The thing is, the Boilers really didn't play poorly. I didn't really see, like, even on the final play, Jared.
No, it wasn't.
In regulation, it's a volleyball play. The ball gets tipped up. Harms was there to block it. The guy shot. I can't fucking believe he shot a rainbow. I mean, that's why it's such a great play. He shot a rainbow. 7'2" Matt Harms is like this. He's straight up. And it's like he shot it right over it and made the. I still can't believe it. The only thing I could nitpick, but I don't even think it's a negative. It's a nitpick. No-Gel Eastern took a breath when the ball went in the backcourt. But again, who wouldn't take a breath? Because it's like, I don't want to foul. I don't want to do anything stupid. So he gave him the opportunity to make the pass. But again, I don't think that's a bad thing either. But No-Gel's thinking, I'm thinking, hey, what the hell are they going to do with the ball behind the court? I'm just not going to foul. That's the last thing I'm going to do is get called for a foul here. So he played off. Because he played off, the pass happened. Bang, boom, boom. Shot goes in. I go nuts. Hang out with my dad. He and I and my... it's a terrible loss. I'm not over that loss. You don't even have to ask me. I'm not going to be over that loss for a very long time. That's why the whole Indians thing's bothering me. So I should actually say that and admit that. The Purdue loss is playing into my Indians frustration right now with the bats. So that's part of it here. But
Catharsis.
It is a
I'm here for you, Andy.
I know. Well, look,
I'm here for you.
I just want to say this for people who don't understand again. Purdue doesn't get to these opportunities very often. In 94 when they lost to or was 94 95 94 when they lost the Duke, they just weren't the good team. In 2000, Dick Bennett had some sort of potion and they just couldn't beat him. This was when Carson Edwards hit that bank shot with a minute left to go in the game. And then they got the rebound from Grady Eifert, and then Klein hits first free throw. I'm calling my dad. Because we're about ready to go to the Final Four. Oh, my fucking God. Can I have the budget and the money to go to Minnesota? So I might go to Minnesota. We're going to go to the Final Four. Oh, my God, the ball gets tipped out.
Well,
game is over.
Be glad that you're saving money, I guess. That's all I've got. Andy, let's do this. Let's try to end this on some sort of funny note.
I had to get that out.
Today is I know. I get it. Today is April 1st. Both of us were had on April Fool's Day.
Yes, I thought
share
at one point
yours
today,
and I'll share mine and we'll close up the show.
Very quickly, a friend of mine goes, did you see what happened as the Browns are trying to trade Agba for Von Miller? And he showed me the account, and it looked like Adam Schefter's account. I'm like, holy shit. We're going to... I then called... the good friend of the Andy and Jared podcast, Cleveland and Beyond, sponsored by Podcoin. Buy your Podcoin now. I called Jared Watson. I'm like, you won't believe this. We're going to trade Agba.
I was like, I haven't seen anything. Are you sure?
Yeah, because it's a fucking April Fool's joke. I was an idiot. So I got had by a fake Adam Schefter account that was aided by a friend. And it did not
so then well. I am walking out of this conference that I was at school down in downtown Baltimore, because after I leave work, I get to drive to Baltimore and go to class, and that's what I do. So I'm half dumb by the time I get home to even do this show. So there's my excuse for anyone listening. But before I get in my car to come home, I thought I had some breaking news One of the fan sites, like fan blogs, Cavs Nation, right?
Mm-hmm.
Who I purposely unfollowed on Facebook because of their clickbait that drove me up a wall for a while.
Mm-hmm.
But they're on, when you go to Google on your phone, it has stories that they think you're interested in.
Mm-hmm.
It said, headline, Zion Williams, breaking news. Zion Williams will only play for the Cavs per sources, multiple sources. I was like, what the hell is this? What is this beautiful piece of news? What is this amazing?
By the way, let me add.
And I didn't even click the damn link, Andy.
Yeah.
I sent it. I sent the screenshot to you, which means you must have Googled it or looked it up, because I screenshot that. Right
after my. Let me just say this: Jared and I are very. I'm gonna boast about ourselves. We're very nice guys, and we've had a hell of a Monday. So when you put things in front of us and we haven't had enough coffee, you start believing like Von Miller's coming to the Browns. Oh my God, the quarterback's not going to breathe.
Andy,
Zion Williams is coming to the Cavaliers.
Andy, I was like, what are they going to do at safety? And you're like, who gives a shit?
They're not going to be able to pass the ball.
They don't need any safeties.
By the way, just for a second,
quarterbacks are going to be dead.
Oh my God, can you imagine? Olivier Vernon coming out for Von Miller on third down. Holy cow.
Yeah. So anyway,
Wow.
that was our April Fools, and hopefully none of you were. Well, maybe you know what? Maybe hopefully all of you were had.
By the way, I think
as
it's
badly
good.
as we
I think
were.
it's good to have a laugh. You gotta laugh at her. By the way, Jared and I laugh at ourselves often, so you gotta laugh at each other and laugh at ourselves. So just to recap, I will not be cheering for UVA in the Final Four. Jared's very concerned about Cookie Carrasco. I'm very concerned about the outfield hitting. We're both concerned about the catchers hitting. The Indians, it's still early. I think you will admit that too. We know it's too early, so you can't freak out yet. End of April is when you should do returns. And then I think, the bigger thing of the day, and it seems to be the theme over the all off season, the Browns again pulled off an A+ on PR and buzz. I mean, I can't get over it. They come off very well, and I love the team camaraderie. Agba trade made a lot of sense. I like that trade a lot. And, you and I both touched upon it. I think the Duke Johnson thing is going to have to work itself out. It's the first little hurdle they have. But guess what? It's not October 1st. It's April 1st. They'll have time to figure it out and see what's best for the team.
Well, you know what? Good. I mean, the Browns have only been shit for half my life, so this is nice.
Yes.
And we'll leave it at that.
Yeah, I'll end it on the Browns note. This is not false bravado. I think this is legitimate excitement.
Yep,
So I'll tell you, it's hard to. I think it's hard sometimes when you're a fan to be like, is this for real or not? And it is hard. I'm telling you, Jared, you can throw your 2 cents in. This is for real, and today proved it. The way that press conference came off and the way people were talking, it's a real camaraderie. I love how the Browns are doing this. Now, wins and losses matter, and they didn't win. They don't get an extra point today. They don't get like a tiebreaker if there's a tie in the conference after today's press conference. But for off-season stuff, it doesn't get any higher than what the Browns are right now. They are on such a high. It's great. It's really exciting.
T-shirts that say "Whoop-de hell." Look out for those.
Yes.
On corner streets in Cleveland. I'm sure those will be being printed soon.
Rally Possum's getting a lot of pickup in the last couple of days, too. A lot more pickup. The
Rally Possum's back?
Seen a lot of postings about the Rally Possum.
Well, I've got a Rally Possum T-shirt design that
there you go.
that I haven't really promoted.
Well,
throw it back out there.
I think it's going to be those things. Feeling dangerous. I also think, and
there's going to be a lot of that.
I think it's going to be a lot of that. I think the other one too, and it's only because of the Saints, it'll be dampered, but there will be a lot of LSU stuff coming as well because I think Beckham and Jarvis are that big and that popular that I wouldn't be surprised.
Well, I got my GV Art. Shout out to GV Art. They didn't give it to me. I paid for it. My Odell shirt that says, I think it says "Go Browns," GEAUX. I'm pretty sure that they went with that on that shirt. So, Yeah, plenty of that. Plenty of money to be made in regard to capitalizing on what should be an amazing year for the Cleveland Browns. But we're going to ride it out with the Indians until then. And Andy, let's get Hayden Grove on. Hopefully at the end of this week. I didn't shoot him a message yet today, so remind me tomorrow.
Yeah. I think
we'll get to Hayden. Hayden will come on because Hayden was at the press conference for anyone listening. He was at the press conference and then went straight to the game. So he'll fill us in on the stuff that we may have missed in regard to the Browns and the Indians.
I think a day in a life in Cleveland for two guys who weren't there, and also too. Yeah, I really do mean it. We kind of threw him off, but it's just because everything else is going on. It is time to wrap up the Cavs season in a bow. By then, there'll only be 2 games left, and it'll be time to start putting in a bow of what 2018-19 really means and what it does going forward. And we should ask him too about coaching searches. Last time he thought Larry Drew was in play. Let's see if that's still the case. And everything else is going on. It is time to wrap that up into a bow as well. It's weird, but the Cavs season's almost coming to an end too.
Well, I'm putting a bow on this right now. He's Andy Billman. I'm Jared Watson. Andy and Jared, Cleveland and Beyond, a part of the Pulse Podcast Network. Talk again soon. Take care.